Thank you. Oh, my goodness. Control yourselves. Okay. I hope you enjoy the Halloween candy. You can really taste the FiberCon. Happy Tuesday, everyone. So Halloween is just around the corner. It's that special time of year when certain people keep saying, no, I'm not wearing a mask. Speaking of, on Saturday night in Pennsylvania, police found a bag of cocaine in a child's Halloween candy. Yeah, the kid was so coked up, he went trick-or-treating a week early. Even more, he was able to get candy from 1,400 houses in under 12 minutes. According to a new poll, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has a better chance of becoming president than Kamala Harris. Also, according to the poll, anyone with that Johnson has a better chance of becoming president than Kamala Harris. Zohran Mamdani claims the aunt who was a victim of 9/11 due to her fear of wearing a hijab on the subway was actually his father's cousin who is deceased and may not or may have been in the country at the time. He directed all future questions to his spokesperson. That's Jesse Smollett for you blind people at home. Juicy. Last night, the LA Dodgers beat the Toronto Blue Jays 6-5 after 18 innings. Yeah. The game took so long because ICE agents kept raiding the dugout. Yeah, we're talking a long game. The Dodgers pitching staff actually had time to learn English because they're Asian. In a recent speech, President Trump joked he doesn't like good-looking people. So he's finally admitting he had sex with Stormy Daniels. Oh, wow. Wow, too soon. And finally, Eric Swalwell is demanding that every 2028 Democrat presidential candidate promise to demolish the new White House ballroom, with fellow Democrat Jerry Nadler pledging, "I am ready to destroy any White House bathroom." You don't have to if you don't really mean it. So Republicans released their report on the cover-up of Joe Biden's decline. And like the best nude beaches for seniors, it's stuff that I already knew. They concluded that Biden's actions cannot all be deemed his own, and that the EOs and presidential pardons signed by autopen should be considered null and void, which coincidentally was the original name for the Biden-Harris campaign. They found no proof that a cognitively deteriorating Biden actually made those decisions. So they sent their findings to the DOJ. Pam Bondi even says she's going to review the report. So bad, the autopen's threatening to plead the fifth. Now, Congress can't act on voiding them, but the DOJ can legally challenge certain EOs or pardons. But we knew this stuff, that the White House controlled everything from Joe's makeup, clothing, schedule, to even the number of steps he could walk. Because if they didn't, the guy could turn a short walk to the podium into a brush with death. Remember that? That was the Amazon. There he goes. Yep. But this isn't the real story. It's whether a damning congressional report on an invalid president will ever be taken seriously by those who covered it up. Not just the Dems, but the media. If they don't have a reckoning and admit their role, they're toast. And this report can serve as their test, especially for CBS, who hired a new boss to shake things up and create a balanced network, which, granted, will be as daunting as getting Katie Porter laid. I know. God love her. Someone has to. But will all the guilty parties, CNN, MSNBC, the New York Times, all of them cover this honestly? Will they evolve? Or are they dinosaurs seeing a comet approach and thinking, I'll worry about this after the weekend? Because right now, they're failing, like Hunter Biden taking his third urine test. Here's Politico's latest headline, quote, House GOP concludes investigation into Biden's alleged mental decline. Alleged. That's like saying someone's looking into the alleged assassination of Abe Lincoln or looking into Kathy Griffin's alleged face. Alleged? Alleged to whom? But even before this report, we saw no media remorse, with even less self-awareness than Pritzker in a Speedo. Jake Tapper peddled a book that was more old news than Jimmy Carter's obituary. KJP's trying to sell a book saying that she saw no signs of Joe's decline, despite the stench of rigor mortis. And the media attacks her, as if somehow she was the reason they didn't report the truth. But her job was to cover for Biden. But the media made that their job, too. And now they're saying, hey, yeah, Biden was in decline. Well, thanks for that. What are you going to tell us next? That Hillary uses napalm on her bikini line? Old news. But the media is in fight or flight mode, having realized they're as useless as a comb for Bernie Sanders. Because they knew if the public saw what they saw, their credibility would disappear like Stelter's feet after Thanksgiving dinner. Joe was turning to mush like a bag of month-old avocados, and they told us it wasn't a story. That makes them the story. And now the jig is up. To save what's left of their industry, the media needs to admit what they did and tell us why. I can do it for them. Hey, America, we up. We thought anything would be better than Trump, including an invalid. And when the invalid got into office, we realized we had to do everything possible to make the world think he was fine. And yeah, this put the country at risk. Under Biden, we saw wars, inflation, crime, a non-existent border. We made the mistake by putting our thumb on the scale and doing everything possible under the false front of journalism to install an aging, confused old man. We let you down. We let our profession down. Maybe in the future you can trust us again, but we don't blame you if you don't. Now on to more important matters. Would you like fries with that shake? Let's welcome tonight's guest. She's both a deplorable and adorable elections correspondent at the Federalist, Brianna Lyman. He went from headlocks to the ballot box, mayor of Knox County, Tennessee, Glenn Jacobs. Black cats avoid crossing her path. New York Times bestselling author and Fox News contributor captain. He gives Halloween candy to every kid in case they're his. Former NWA world champion and host of Planet Irish podcast, Brianna, if the situation was reversed, this would be huge news. If this was a report by Democrats about an infirm Republican president, this would be everywhere. I know that sounds cliched, but do you think this will go anywhere?
I am very hopeful about this going somewhere. And the reason being is the left has no escape route, right? After Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson come out with this book confirming what we all knew, the media adopted the posture of, oh, no, we knew Biden was cognitively impaired and we covered it fairly and accurately, right? So they put themselves in a corner where they've admitted that Biden was cognitively declining. So it's hard for them now in the same breath to say, yes, Biden was cognitively declining, but there is no way he could have had someone take his executive autopen and fill out these pardons, right? So they've backed themselves into a corner where they can no longer reflexively say Republicans are, delegitimate or this is unnecessary. They have already consented and agreed that Biden was cognitively declining, and this is the latter half of that entire situation.
Mayor, I am confused that they can say on one hand that he's declining, and then they can say they had nothing to do with it when we all saw it. That's what drives me crazy, is like, we all saw it, and the people closest to him didn't. They got to be held accountable.
Yeah, it's the ultimate collusion, right?
Yeah.
Now, speaking of the people closest to him, I heard that it was actually Jill Biden that ordered the autopen because Joe was drawing with crayons on the walls again. And Hunter better hope that that pardon isn't overturned, because he's going to find out that taking the fifth in court does not mean the same thing as taking the fifth in the bar.
Yeah.
This is one of the biggest cover-ups in American history. It's a massive story. We have no idea who's running the country. President in cognitive decline. What had happened? Who was doing anything? What had happened if he had a real crisis and Joe Biden had hit the red button thinking that he'd won bingo?
Yeah. Well, think about, like, we did have real crisis. Ukraine, October 7th. I know that Trump says these things wouldn't happen if he was in charge, but there's a strong possibility he's right. Yeah. And that's infuriating, Kat. I know people just want, like Harold Ford will say, we got to think about the future, forget about Joe. But if we forget about Joe, then we let all these people off the hook.
Well, I'm also just fascinated of how it happened.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And also, I've said this before, but I feel like no one ever says this, and I still want to know. I still don't really get the whole autopen thing, because I feel like it's not that hard to sign stuff.
Yeah.
That's like, why was there an autopen?
You're supposed to do it for autographs.
No, but that's like gotta be the easiest part of the job, is like going like that. Like you couldn't do that?
Yeah, unless it was like 1,000 books. But you're right. I mean, how many things do you have to sign?
What else was he doing?
Yeah.
You could do it sitting down.
Yes. He could actually be lying down and doing it.
Yes, exactly. So everyone just talks about the autopen like I'm supposed to understand how that could possibly be necessary.
It is true. It's like that's probably the one part of his body, Tyrus, that still works.
And the signature's the one thing that doesn't have to be neat.
Yes.
Exactly. Mine looks
even
terrible.
He could even do signatures in cool crayon colors.
Yeah.
He could. He'd still be like, oh, I have a thing from the president. See the squiggle? There's a J there. And Kat's 1,000% right. What else was he doing? You couldn't wake him up between naps. Here, sign here. But unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get much from it, because there's this little thing. A lot of the politicians involved in this, they had qualified immunity, and you have to get everyone to turn on each other. And what we're seeing is that they were very good at what they did. Like JPK, she's on this tour saying he was perfectly fine. He probably was, because I don't think she was ever in the same room as him. She got a notebook every day. Here, it's from the president. Maybe she got a phone call, and it was Hunter Biden with a napkin going, yeah, it's me. Just do this and do that. Oh, sorry, and they were catfishing her. Oh, my FaceTime's not working on my phone today, but I'll talk to you tomorrow. So I think she was probably talking to a Nigerian prince instead of talking to the president. I think they catfished her, and she's the gullible fool and the DEI hire. So she didn't question anything. Now she's out here in a book tour, and they're laughing at her because they're like, because I'd be like, you spoke to the president? And there's never the follow-up picture question. Do you guys ever take a photo together? Was there ever, because you would see action photos of Dana ducking the shoe as the president pointed and laughed back in the day.
Yeah.
You would see pictures of them working together at the desk, things like that. There's no evidence that they were ever in the same room together.
That's right. Yeah, it's true.
So I think they were very good at what they did, and it's continuing. And they're continuing the stuff. The people that were running the country are the same people now who are doing the things in the street, who are pushing the Mondanis, who are getting people to show up against ICE, and with the government shutdown, it's the same cast of characters.
I think the reason why CBS is changing and the Washington Post are changing is because they realized they had to clean house after this, because since the legacy media is not admitting that they colluded.
They were in on it, yeah.
Yeah, they were in on it. They're just saying, maybe we can get rid of everybody by putting Barry Weiss in charge of CBS. Those people will leave, and the Washington Post, everybody's leaving, rather than have to say we were the bad guys. That's what I think anyway. And you know what? I don't care if you're not laughing.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.